Hello, good afternoon. Savva from Savva Talk Spurs here for the regular Friday show with Kuva99. Kuva, we saw each other last night. We're seeing each other again today. It's becoming worrying, but
People
how
are
are you?
beginning to talk, aren't they?
They are.
I'm just
They
so
are.
pleased you're losing all that weight for me.
Mate, I'm so desperate for like a burger or like just some sugar, something. And but I'm gonna go for a few pints tonight, so we'll
Fair.
put it on then. Uh, let's get straight in. Hello and welcome to anyone in the chat. We'll see how many we get in, but welcome to all those of you that are in already posting comments. This is the show. Kuva and I will talk for the first kind of 10 minutes, and then we will put the link up and see who wants to come on and moan, rant, praise, whatever you want to do for the window, for the start of the season, for our squad. This is for you. Kuva, let's get straight in. So at last, that bloody window is closed. I mean, to say it fizzled out would be an understatement. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you could think of an analogy as to how our window started with a bang and then fizzled out, what would you come up with?
Let's think. It's wrong time of day to say some of them, but
yeah. Well, do you know what my mate said? My mate said to me earlier, who's a Spurs fan, he said, this is the equivalent of going to the nightclub and between about 9 p.m. and midnight, you're talking to the fittest bird in there. Fast forward to 4 a.m., it's closing time and you're taking home a 3 out of 10. That's what he said.
Mine's a little bit darker than that. I was going to go for the weekend of high class prostitutes and Charlie, and then ends up with the corpse rolled up in a carpet being buried in the woods somewhere.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean that works as well. That really works. I mean it did fizzle out, didn't it? In all honesty, forget analogies, it really did fizzle out, didn't it? Without any kind of spark at the end.
Yeah, I mean, when he starts off that well, we're all thinking, even the most staunch Levy outers, we're thinking, you know, things are turning around here. We're starting to do things the right way. Transfers coming in early, some experienced players coming in, high quality with the likes of Perisic, Basuma, Richarlison, despite the controversy about whether he goes in the first team or not. I think it's still a good signing. We made the right moves. And then all of a sudden, it's what we feared. It's a bit of a letdown. Getting the things in early, that's the only thing that's really changed on the window. Because a lot of it's players that aren't going straight into the first team. And that's the big worry. We're not actually that much better off for the first 11. It could develop that way, though. That's the big hope, I suppose. The likes of Jed Spence, Basuma become regular starters. Richarlison is more trusted in being in rotation with players. People aren't panicking about it. Oh, no, you've got to have Sonny, you've got to have Kulusevski playing. It's not a problem if we rotate players. It really isn't. I'll just think we need things to fall into place really quickly, though. We've left ourselves too light.
Mm-hmm. Do you see look, I mean, there were multiple streams yesterday. I should know I was on about 8 hours worth. There were listen, when I logged on last night to join Henry, literally my full YouTube stream was literally this show's live, Irish Hotspurs live, Shelf Sides live, this is live, that's live. And from what I've seen, I feel like a lot more people, maybe a lot of the ones that were kind of gunning people like me down, are starting to come to that realization of, well, it wasn't the big kind of firework display we were promised. It was more of a, it was more of a sparkler than a great big Catherine wheel, wasn't it? Do you see that with the fans? Are you seeing that people are starting to realise that?
Yeah, I mean, it even ties in with what I've said all along in the window. It's no good just judging it on the first part of it. You look at the whole thing together, and then you don't even have to look at the other clubs, what they're doing. We can look at the likes of Chelsea and envy with all the money going through. That would be unrealistic for us to expect that from our club, because that is a hell of a lot of money going in. But did we do everything we could have done? when you look at the fact that we haven't drawn that extra 50 million out of the bank, and we're also buying in the likes of Udogie from he's not even going to get until next season. Then we're spending money on Jed Spence. He wasn't even getting in the team. Had a little cameo at Forest. Not really pulling up trees at the moment. Perhaps he might in the future. But you've got to look at it and say, well, we could have used that money better on an area that did need improving. I mean, you look at the last game and our defence, Emerson, Sanchez, Dyer, Davis. It's last season.
Listen. When a few more people join, we'll get a bit more into it. I'm going to bring up some of the comments from Antonio's press conference today, which completely shatter any illusions that so many of what I call the toxic positive fans had about, well, Conte seems happy, because he did not seem happy to me. But we'll come to that later. Sandro H, welcome to you. Welcome back. And by the way, welcome to everyone on the show. Please smash the like button, subscribe. We are 91 away from the big 2,000. And there's nothing that happens when we get to the 2,000. It's just milestones, right? There's no big, everyone gets a Spurs shirt or something. But please do subscribe. He said, Conte's quote, and then basically he said, that basically a spell has been lifted today. So like Conte, Levy had cast his spell over Conte for 3 months and it's lifted today. Were you, without going into detail of what Conte said, were you expecting a bit more of an upbeat Conte from the window just shutting, or are we seeing the kind of the opinions of a man that hasn't been backed and we knew it?
I think Conte's a realist. He tells it as he sees it. The only thing that's been, you could argue, he's been gagged a little bit by the club in recent months, because he had these outbursts early on, and then it all went quiet, and then you start hearing these stock phrases that sounded like they've been prepared by the club press office. To be able to compete and things like that instead of winning something. There's a big difference in these little subtle differences in the words, but big differences in the meaning. And it felt like Conte was having to toe the line, otherwise there was going to be trouble. And he wants to still earn his money, doesn't he, to the end of his contract? So I think we are seeing proper Conte reaction to it. He looked sort of drawn out, disappointed, thinking, I could have done with a lot more than this, but this is where we are. It's the hand I'm dealt, really, isn't it? That's the sort of a tone he had from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I feel like, again, we've got a really, really divided fan base. I almost feel like when Nuno was here, everyone, most of the people, you still had the toxic positive people that thought Nuno was good, give him a chance, all of this. But I think, I'm going to make up stats again here, 90% of the fan base, we're all on the same page, Kuva, that something had to change. The football was terrible. We needed a new manager. Conte came in and it felt for a brief moment in time, whether it be for that kind of first 3 to 6 months, that everyone was singing off the same hymn sheet. Conte's done a really good job. He's got us into the top 4. And it kind of felt like everyone was going into the window with this new sense of optimism, this kind of wavering optimism over everybody. It now feels, fast forward 3 months later, that we're back to where we were, Kuva, in terms of this fan base is split. This fan base is very much, you either loved that window and you will defend it with your honor, or you're like me and you're like, I can't defend that window because it was not good enough. Are you seeing that within our fan base at the moment?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, especially with defending it. I mean, I've seen comments like, this is literally the best window we've had in any fan's lifetime. And I'm thinking, here's one for you. I think you can think of the same window I'm thinking of. Certain one back in the 1990s. Yeah. We had Ozzy Ardiles in charge. We had Jurgen Klinsmann, Ilya Dumitrescu, Jica Popescu.
Yeah.
That's the quality of players that were coming in that window. This is nothing like that.
Even fast forward to more recent times, Kuva, wasn't there a window when Dembele, Vertonghen and was it Lloris? Did they all come in? There was a window where 3 or 4 of that famous 11
wasn't it? Yeah.
all came in. So when people are going, Savva, this is the best window, I'm like, either these fans are too young to remember this stuff, but no.
Which it could be, to be fair.
Could be, but the thing is, when I'm seeing other podcasts saying it, and I know the ages of those people, I'm thinking, come on, this is now just an exercise in vanity for your fans. This isn't truth. This isn't the best window. Kuvva, I'm not saying it's a bad window. I gave it a 5 out of 10 because I'm split down the middle. It wasn't diabolical, which is a 0. It wasn't amazing, which was 10. It was a 5 for me. I know Rez would hate it because he doesn't like rating things, but it was a 5. Would you go along? Would you give it a bit more?
I'll go lower, because it's of what the club needed. We're in a terrible state. We're an absolutely fractured team. We've got some world-class talents in the team and some that are just mid-table at best. And I mean at best. And we're looking at a squad that isn't good enough to compete on all 4 fronts, going into a season where we're going into the Champions League as well as dealing with this league, all these league fixtures. It's going to be fixture congestion. We need numbers and we need quality. Have we addressed all of that? No. Could we have addressed all of it? No, of course not. It's too much to ask in one window that we brought in 12 to 14 top quality players. That would have cost, you could spend £1 billion on that. So obviously that's not feasible. But did we get the core areas addressed, like a centre back, right wing back, an attacking midfield option, either a goal scoring midfielder or a creative spark, or even another forward like that, somebody that's a little bit of versatility and able to play across the front 3 and offers a little bit something different like Richarlison does. We could have done with another one like that, couldn't we? It's not been there. And for me, it's the one I've maintained all along. If we're going to have Conte, we're going to play Conte's system. First thing we're going to need is decent full wing backs. Yeah. And I would, at the start of the window, I said we should really be looking to get 4, because that's do what Man City did when Pep needs that, and when Pochettino needed that, he needed good athletic wing backs. So we at least had some.
Well, this is what I don't understand, Kuvva. Right? For all the people defending not buying in the areas we need. Right, everyone lost their mind, right, with positivity when Conte joined the club, and rightfully so, yeah? Top manager. We all went, yes. Surely you then do, like what Man City did with Pep. I'm not saying you have to spend those levels, but we're not poor. Surely you go to Antonio, okay, what are the 3 or 4 main ingredients for you to work, Antonio? And it wouldn't have been Udogie, Jed Spence, Forster, trying to get Dan James, a sub-striker. I'm not saying that's a bad signing, but surely he would have said, well, for this to work, I need to recreate the centre backs I had at Inter Milan. I need to recreate the wing backs I had at Inter Milan. And Perisic, but that was easy for the club to do, wasn't it? It's not a great player, but that's an easy one. He's on a free, 33 years of age, knows Conte. It's a no-brainer. Yeah. Had Perisic have cost 50, 60 million, would they have gone and got that deal done?
Hell no.
Right.
Hell no.
Right. And this is the worry. All these people that lost their mind about Conte, but then don't lose their mind that the owner's not backing Conte to play his way, baffles me, Kuvva. It baffles me.
Well, this is the thing as well. I mean, the likes of us, we're not angry because of one window, are we? No. It's because it's been a trend. We've had, well, you could say with the exception of a couple of windows, most of the last 44 windows have been a bit disappointing in one way or another. Even when we had a great team under Pochettino and we're finishing second behind Chelsea, we could kick on, buy in some more quality players, really make that extra push, and we just don't. The only thing that's going for us, well, not the only thing, but some of the things that are going for us at the moment is you can look down at, say, the noisy neighbours. Arsenal spent a load of money, which was good. They bought some young players as well, which is also a good thing, build up the team and everything. But they've given them a crappy manager. It's like they're almost doing the same thing, but in reverse to us. We got the manager and they're not supplying the players. And they've got the reverse, because we're both teams that should be doing a lot more than we are. And half the fans are up in arms about it, and the other half seem to be okay about it. Now, I understand that from some of the younger fans, they haven't seen some of what it used to be like at this club when we used to win things. It used to be no problem. You used to go out and just buy players that were great. It wasn't a problem getting the likes of Gascoigne, Klinsmann, everything. Even
Ginola.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah. It baffles me. I mean, look, Stel, welcome to the show.
Right, I did.
Yes. Welcome. For some reason, I've cut my leg and I'm bleeding everywhere. I don't know how, but never mind. I will carry on. I shouldn't have mentioned that. Stel, we're just talking about. I think Kuvva used the word anger. I mean, I don't think that's the right word for me. I feel like the word for me is just. I feel justified in what I've been saying from looking at that window still. I feel like a lot of people have given people like you, like me, like Will, all these people a lot of stick this window because of, be patient. The window's not shut yet. We will bring in a centre half, a right wing back, a playmaker. None of it materialised. What's your overall sensation that you're feeling the day after now? Because I know it's not anger. What's your feeling?
I just want it all to collapse. I want the whole thing to unravel. I know this is going to be such a bad take on it, and people are probably people, and rightly so, will have a go at me for this. But
yeah,
I've been here before. I've been here many times with Spurs, and I'm now at a point where I don't want Kane and Son at the club because we've let them down again. I don't want us to have this fake illusion that we're going to build. I was saying earlier on, if we need 2 or 3 windows, Perisic will be 35, Kane and Son will be 32, Hugo Lloris won't be at the club anymore. All these players that have gone on loan that are going to come back in 2-3 years, in 2-3 windows' time, all their contracts will have expired. So now there's no money to recoup. This isn't a case of let's have 2 or 3 windows and then we've built this amazing. It's not going to happen like that. It took Klopp 5 years. It took Liverpool 5 years. So this 2-3 window is an illusion. Either you go big and bold in a couple of windows, or you just fob off the fans and say, 2 or 3 windows. It's not going to happen, guys. This squad is nowhere near the level. The fact that Conte's come out today and said the other teams, the gap is there's a big distance. The fact he said that after our greatest window ever, what more do you want to hear, man? This is the greatest window we've ever had. And the manager of Tottenham Hotspur has come out and said there is a massive distance. That means we haven't even closed on them.
Here, right?
So it's all an illusion. In my opinion, Savva, I just want it to all unravel because it's the only way these owners are going to leave.
So here it is still. So this is what fans like you and I get slaughtered for on Twitter and called negative, etc. This is what we've been saying, right? Conte has come out today and said, I have to be honest with you. If I see the other squads of top teams, there is too much difference, right? Too much difference. He's also been quoted as saying, let me get this right, and I've written them down just to make sure that I don't put it into Savva's terms. He's also said, the club did what it could. Not I did or we did. The club. He did it again. That's what he did when he talked about Spence. The club did what it could. He said there's too much distance and we need 3 to 4 transfer windows more. Now, Kuvva, why is it okay for the manager to come out and say this? But when us as fans say it, we are negative, toxic, awful human beings that get abuse. But that is what we've been saying all window.
Simple. Put a title over the top that says something like Sky Sports or Spurs Official, and it's accepted, isn't it? If it comes down to fans talking on any other channel, we're just toxic. We somehow don't want what's good for the club, even though we're asking for quality players coming in. You tell me. It's just one of these ongoing battles you have to have. That it is even a club policy to get the fans at each other's throats, so it deflects from all looking at them.
Yeah.
It could be. If you're trying to argue with a billionaire owner, you've got a lot of firepower coming back at you in all sorts of shapes and sizes that you can't match, and that's perhaps what we're seeing. Fans have had wool pulled over their eyes for decades. It isn't just Sugar, and it isn't just Levy. Sugar did it a bit to an extent, but he did dip his hand into his pocket. To be fair, he just wasn't very good as knowing what should be done to sort of maintain the level of football. It was chop and change as well. Didn't really understand a lot of it, and I don't know. I'm at the point of giving up with it. That side of it now, mate. Nothing changes. Half our fans will be content with whatever's put out in front of them.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I completely agree with you. But I mean, still, this is what makes me laugh, right? Is lots of fans are saying it's a process and a project, and we know all that, and we hate all that talk, right? Because let's be fair, this isn't about 1 to 4 windows, is it? This has been, I mean, just quick maths. I think 22 years gives them, 44 windows? Just quick maths. I don't know when they changed it to the January, but 40 odd windows. Yet again, we've seen the same movement. Why are there half this fan base still? Because I don't know if you heard in the background, as I said to Kuva, it feels like this fan base is now completely divided again. You're either positive or you're negative in fans' eyes, right? That's the way it is. Why are those fans that are deemed on the positive side still, why are they happy with these windows? Why are they happy even though the manager's body language is poor, the performances are poor, and players like Sessegnon and Royal and Davis and Hoyt, you can see that they're average. Why aren't they more annoyed about this?
Do you know what it takes to come out and speak about anything in this world when it's not the popular opinion? The comfortable, non-confrontational, easy, just fit into society way to be is to just follow the masses. To actually come out and say things like Enik out, Levy out, the formation is bullshit, Emerson is not that, he's rubbish. They haven't backed the man. To come out and say these things, it takes a lot, because it's one thing saying it on Twitter. It's another thing putting your face on a video where everyone can recognize you now on match day and people can screenshot you and meme you. You know, the majority of people in this world haven't got it in them to do that, Savva. I think a lot of Spurs fans know what's what. I think a lot of Spurs fans cling on to the hope that Enik and Levy are going to learn from their lessons. They're going to reform, that they have made mistakes. Not actually what I think, which is they're not mistakes. They intentionally do these things. They know what they're doing, but it will be labelled as mistakes. I don't think fans have got it in them. And also, I think the biggest reason, Savva, is what Tom Markkanen said at 3:54. For me, that nails it on the head. He put, it's only football. And for most modern day fans that want the match day experience, the hospitality, the ambience, the day out with the family, for most fans, it is only football. And that's the reason, Savva. Whereas for people like me, and I've got no shame in saying it, other than football, eating food, and when I get a chance, doing a bit of travelling, there's not much else I really like doing with my spare time. I love my football. That's why I coach, and I've been doing it for 10 years. I love going to support a team, which is why I go and get a season ticket at Spurs. I love doing these shows with you guys and others. I love being around. I just love being around football. I've always loved being around football. And if it's not that, then I want to be abroad on a beach, or I want to be eating food or learning to cook food. That's my hobbies. So unless you're diehard like me, and I'm not the only one, there's many, it is only just football to most fans. And that's me giving you, a humble kind of
okay, so let me throw a spanner in that theory. I'm not saying I disagree with you, but lots of this narrative does come as well from lots of big YouTube channels. right? What I see, I see a correlation, right? And I'm not trying to start a war with other YouTube channels. Everyone's got their own opinion. But it almost feels to me that all the YouTube channels with loads and loads of followers all seem to really think this was a good window. All seem to think it's a process and back the manager. But
I don't think they do, Savva. I think a lot of YouTube channels. I was looking at comments of a lot of channels yesterday, and I don't think that's the case. There's a lot of fans that aren't happy with this. A lot. What they do about it is a different story, and it goes back to how valuable is football in their life. Because there's still a lot.
What the YouTubers done. I'm talking about the YouTubers, not the people in their comments. The YouTubers.
They're towing the safety line. What's the safe thing to say? Savva, right, I can't speak for you or Kuva, but I know when I speak, I look at things like the subscribers, the viewing numbers, and one or two things happens. It either shoots up or it takes a dip.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
People aren't prepared to take that risk on YouTube and podcasts because they're so scared about what you think, the viewer, that they will play it safe. Whereas I've never, ever cared what the person watching thinks about my opinion. I would rather just put it out there and let them decide, do you like it or do you dislike it or you're not sure? I've never, ever feared doing that. Whereas these YouTubers that you're talking about, I think they do. I think they are scared of what the person watching thinks.
Well, Stel, Kuva, I'm going to come to you just quickly, just to back on from Stel's point there, Kuva. This week, I've done 5 Savva's Daily Thoughts because there's 5 days in the working week. It's amazing how math works, isn't it? And 2 of them got double the viewing figures that the other 3 got. Now, I'm going to read out the titles of the 5 Daily Thoughts. You tell me which 2, got the most views.
Whose channel was this, Savva? Your channel?
This is me. This is my Daily Thoughts. Okay. So, I'm going back 5, right? The 5th one ago was calling out Twitter twats. Yeah? That was the first one. The second one was fantastic start to the season. The third one was match day. We will definitely beat West Ham. The 4th one was underwhelming at West Ham. And the 5th one was windows closed. Thank God for that. Which 2 do you think doubled the other 3?
I'm gonna go with the. That's a difficult one. How do you read that? Are people coming for the controversy on the channel, or are they just bigging it up when they see something positive they like all of a sudden? So I'm going to go for the 2 big up sort of ones. It's the being a good transfer window or whatever. And
fantastic start to the season, and we will beat West Ham. Yeah. So what I realised there is, and it wasn't that I didn't believe in those 2 things, but the correlation is there, right? The people want to hear positivity, even if it's not real. Those 2 shows got 1.4k views for a 10-minute video. And the other 3 all got under 700 views. That's not coincidence. So that fits in with Stel's narrative that, you can tell what you say, you either go there or there.
Exactly. But the fact that you've done them all, Savva, says to me, you don't fear putting your opinion out there and letting people decide what they think. Whereas the other channels, they won't do it. They will never do that. And that's the difference. In the short term, those other channels would be more successful. But I believe, and I could be wrong because I've got no evidence to back it, I believe what we do, just being real about it, in the long term, we will come out as being the voices that people want to hear. Because fans aren't stupid. I honestly believe a lot of fans deep down really want to say stuff and they really want to come out and speak, but they fear the repercussions. They fear the backlash. Like they see you and I getting called paedophile, toxic, rapist, Stelios drinks bathwater, Savva's a toxic forest fire. They fear having
my favourite.
being thrown at them. Imagine you're a normal person in life, Savva. You support Spurs, you keep yourself to yourself, but you really don't like Enik and Levy. And inside you want to speak, but then you see what people that do speak, what they've got to deal with, and you think, I can't handle that. What do they do? What would you do for that fan?
Yeah, you absolutely. I get it. So look, just so you know, I've put the link in the chat, and as always, the alcoholic is here. Sorry, that's really harsh.
Oi, oi.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from, Soren. I'm so sorry. Just fell off my tongue.
It's just I need all this to put up with you lot.
Yeah.
Soren, I think you should change your name to Sober Soren.
Very sober.
Just quickly before I bring you in, Soren, George, thank you very much for the super chat. That said, big up the channel and the panel. So big up to yourself, George. Soren, let me come to you, and then I'll bring Kuva in. I mean, Soren, I think we did a show many weeks ago where the narrative from a lot of people was window's not shut yet. We'll get 18 points from 18. There's still time to buy these players. Neither of those things have happened. The manager has now come out and almost hello, Charlie. The manager has come out almost today with what we knew. It wasn't negative. It wasn't positive. It was towing the line, right? Using the right words. You know, the club did what they could do. It wasn't we did what we could do. Have things changed? Have we seen a change of tide in the last 4 weeks, or is this what you expected it to be like?
I think it's a hard one. I mean, I was definitely that for we would do more business, and to me, I've kind of chopped the window in half. The first half was positive. It was good for me. I think we did some good signings. The second half, you almost just wish it didn't happen because it was such any fan that didn't feel deflated last night at 11 o'clock, to me, cannot call themselves a Tottenham fan. And I mean, you know how positive I've been on the whole thing. And, I was sat there last night and it was like, I'm not surprised at all. Looking at it today, I'm kind of thinking, look, it hasn't surprised me. I'm gutted it's happened. I think it's very typical of Tottenham that they kind of give you something with one hand but pull it all back with two hands. And I think, when people are talking, it's hard to be positive at the moment. I think the only thing we can be positive about at the moment is we're in third. We're looking okay points-wise. We're not looking okay performance-wise. And hopefully we'll string it together. I think somebody said on one of the streams yesterday there's only 11 matches before the next window's open. You kind of think, oh, great. Who might we sign in the January window? Yeah,
sorry, there's 18 matches.
Yeah, I know, but I meant Premier League, sorry.
Beg your pardon, mate.
11 Premier League matches. That's what was kind of said. There's 11 Premier League. Then obviously you start adding all the others on top, and then it's sort of you go back to that. Yeah, where's the positivity again? We kind of look at things to be a little bit positive. I think you actually summed it up very well earlier, Stowe, when you said when we were talking about somebody had said it's only football, and then to some it's not only football. It's a way of life. There are those Tottenham fans that bleed Tottenham. Everything is about Tottenham. It's everything to us. And there's the others that literally are. Yeah, it's a Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday night thing that for an hour or two we'll get up for it, and whatever else happens. I mean, on a match day for me, if we lose, that's my whole weekend gone. I'm absolutely pissed off. I've had enough. The family stay away. Friends don't bother. It's one of those. And I'm sure you're the same, Stellan, Kuva and Savva, and it's one of those where, like I say, yesterday, you got up yesterday morning, The only good thing I can say, and this is the only positive I've got on the last few days of the window, at least we didn't sign somebody we didn't really need or didn't want. We didn't do
but Soren, look, just to get everyone involved, guys, can that be? I've seen a few people say this, that, you know, somebody said it last night. Oh, at least we didn't sign Traore, and someone said at least we didn't sign Dan James. For me, these aren't comforts. That should, for me only, this shouldn't be in our thinking. Dan James, Adama Traore shouldn't even be in the conversation. Well, at least we didn't sign them. The fact that those names are flying around, Kuvva. Sorry, I'll come to you because I'll come to you for a bit, and then I'll come to Charlie and Eugene. The fact that those names were flying around, surely that was a worry in this window in itself, Kuvva, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how big a club are we? We're always being told, you know, we're doing so well financially, and we're one of the richest clubs in the world. Journalists all over this all the whole time. Big part of the big six. But then when it comes to signing players, look at the names that do come in. It's actually quite rare we get somebody in that you think, wow, that's a hell of a player. Quite often it's a hopeful sort of thing. Sometimes they turn out to be great, like the likes of Kulusevski. We weren't sure about him. He's done really well for us. Fair play. But when it comes to, you know, the likes of a Haaland going to City or Chelsea just going out to splurge on all players that we all know, we've all heard the names of, and we're looking at some players potentially coming in on the last day of the window, and I had to Google some of them. This is an old Danny Rose thing, isn't it? It's like we nearly got somebody for 20 million that I haven't heard of. Brilliant. That's being a big club. No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Where is the quality? Where is the ambition there? It's always budget value, budget wages. Budget wages has got to be the main thing. That's seriously holding us back. I think that's why the likes of the Gooners can bloody sign players that we can't. Yeah.
You know, once we signed Bissouma, Perisic, and the controversial Richarlison, who splits opinions. You know, like a lot of us were excited. Like there's a lot of Spurs, I'm thinking, blind, but we're getting them in early. These are good signings. And then we just went to that Longley, Spence, you know, the second half of the window where we just felt, oh no. As soon as that happened, in my heart, it sank. Because what I really believed this club was going to now change direction in, and what I really thought Conte would force, it just went out the window for me. And that's why I said, we're not signing any more players, because I knew then this was the window to show us it's all changed. And when that bit happened, I thought, that's it, man. They're never going to change. Bastoni's not coming next summer. That for me, Kuvva, like trying to just go on what you just said. My heart sank, dude, man. That's why I sold my Fulham ticket this weekend. I thought, I can't. I feel gutted.
Sorry, just a little thing to finish off that was what I was saying, tying with what Stel said. If you go back and do a Google search on Tottenham transfers in over the last, over the last 12, 13 years, since we got Champions League football for the first time with that 09-10 season, wasn't it? If you look at the transfers coming in at that point, pick out each one that you could say that is a top player at the peak of his game, in his prime, coming in. It doesn't happen. Other clubs do. We don't. It's always the one with the potential to do it, or the young, promising talent, or the aging star that, you know, has got a couple of years left him at best. It's never that prime quality player.
So I want to bring Charlie in here quickly. So welcome, Charlie. Hope you're well. Just before I do, actually, sorry, I really should go through these super chats. So sorry, bear with me 1 second. So XOG X Low. Thank you very much. He has said Levy's action shows he's not scared to lose Conte. I think we've seen before that Daniel. I don't know if he's not scared to lose him. I just think it shows where his priorities as a businessman lay. But thank you very much for the super chat. And Pete from North London, he's go and follow his channel, has said Conte will be getting a knock on the door in the morning from Last Word on Spurs if he's not careful with those comments. And for as funny as that comment is, it's. I'll go back to what I said earlier, Charlie. I think just before you join the show, it's funny, isn't it, that all the things that certain fans like us have been saying, we've been ridiculed for it all window. Conte comes out and says it today. Oh, it's all right. Conte said it now. What's your opinions on what he said today, Charlie?
I think what he said today, it's all when you watch the actual video, because sometimes you'll get quotes and then when you actually watch it, it looks different. But like, I saw the quotes and then I watched the actual clip of it just to make sure it was kind of the same. And when I saw it, it's like he seems a bit deflated to me. That's the impression I get from him. He looks a bit deflated. He seems like he's on kind of the edge a little bit. It seems like, to me, all I can read in that is bare minimum. That's all I can read in that. It seems like he's right. It's a silver lining here. It's a very fine line here with him. I feel like he's just on the edge, and I feel like obviously he's not waiting for bad results, but like if in the event we got a few bad results, I feel like he would kind of expand on what he kind of referred to today, which was kind of the club do what they could have done. And like, what was it he said about Spence? He referred to like the club investment thing again, which for me is a concern for me, because I'm like, why not get him what he's saying to the public eye? Like he's literally saying, and he said it last season, all of this stuff to the public. This isn't behind closed doors or behind the scenes or anything. He literally made it clear to the public eye. He's exposing the whole situation. He's telling the whole world what's required and what needs to be done. And unfortunately, despite that, they still didn't do what's required. And unfortunately, the top kind of big hitter journalists, the top tiers and all these things, now looking back at what I have no problem with them individually, because this is just information coming from their kind of contacts and all these things. But it just all stinks of propaganda. If you actually go back and read what was said in May or June, whenever it was, it just stinks of propaganda to me. That's the way I see it. Like, we're in for the biggest window of all time and all these things. It just feels very propaganda-y.
Yeah. Okay. Look, can't agree more. There's a couple of people in the background. I will bring you on, guys. I just don't want to bring on a million people at once. So just hold tight with me. Eugene, what did you make of the, before we move on from the transfer window, what did you make of the deadline day? Did you have any optimism at all that something would happen and we'd be surprised on the last day? Or did you know that our window was done ages ago?
To tell the truth, Savva, I woke up at 2:45 a.m., right, for the West Ham match, right? Yep. Don't forget, I'm in Malaysia, okay?
Yeah.
Watched the game, then slept for 5 hours, went to work, came back. Well, I was hoping for something to happen. Then it went on. Then I said, okay, it's 2 a.m. my time to go to sleep. And I said, maybe I'll wake up around 8 a.m. I'll get some good news. I wake up at 8 a.m., no good news, right? I hopped onto Brian Daigle's Tottenham Tour channel. Snell was there with me. And I blew up. I'm saying, our fan base, like Snell says, is the problem, right? Imagine, when Manchester United was shit, their protests were in thousands, right? And if that day, if they have lost to Liverpool, right? I was saying this in live. Most probably they burned Old Trafford down, right? What do? We get one guy called Brian Daigle standing out of the hospital holding a flag, right? So that's so sad, all right? But sorry to say, I can't blame a lot of people because I'm in Malaysia, you know. I can't buy a plane ticket over to join the protest to start something, right? But a lot of guys, you guys who are actually at home ground, I mean, just admit it. We have accepted that we have got no ambition, right? But the only thing I do not like, right, is the club or the narrative coming out from the club that we're a big team, we want to win things, right? And now we get Conte, and we're not doing it, right? Okay, deja vu in reverse. I did it on my show. I said that deja vu in reverse again. We got all the players in early, right? And everybody was up, right? Then there was the 150 million pounds being pumped in. Everybody was hyped up, right? We're going to get 150 million pounds. But if you read that statement properly, it was for on and off pitch investments. Remember? Investments again, right? So where are we now? I don't know. We have not addressed the weaknesses of our squad, right? Most probably why Son's form is so bad is he knows that we're not going to do anything. That's why he's depressed, for all you know, right? I don't know. And what Conte said in the earlier part, right, was we are like 2 transfer windows away from being title contenders or getting to win a trophy. Now he's coming to say that we are 4 or 5 windows away. Guys, wake up.
Well, I think
Conte's
this is what I wanted to move it on to. Guys, what I'm going to say is, because there's 6 of us and a few people waiting, if we could just go with quick snapshot answers and have more of a debate rather than one-on-one, I'm quite happy with that kind of chaotic mess. Guys, one thing that staggers me is the narrative at the beginning of the window was Conte wasn't here for 4th place. He's not here for that, guys. He's not here for top 4. He's here to win and win immediately. Where have those fans gone now with those opinions? Because all of a sudden I've seen Conte go from I'm happy to Jed Spence wasn't mine. It doesn't matter how you read that. It was Jed Spence wasn't my signing, to there's a huge distance between us and the top clubs and we can't compete. So why are there fans that believed that he was here to win the title immediately and that he would get backed? Is this just pure delusion, or is there something that I'm missing? Soren, let me start with you and then I'll go to Stel.
I think the problem is everybody thought Conte was here to win things immediately because that's what we got told, that as soon as he comes in, that's the only reason he's coming. But I think if you look at what's been said and how it's been said, Conte isn't just here to win things immediately because he knows he's not going to win things immediately with Tottenham. We might still win a cup this year, but I mean, the first thing we've got to do is, can we stop talking about this 150 million because it was never there in the first place and it's fucking boring. You know,
I agree.
It's just getting to the point now where
the word war chest never existed.
No,
it was made up. It was made up.
People made it up, and
the first person I saw say war chest, who do you think it was?
Alistair Gold.
Alistair Gold.
Yeah, I remember.
Alistair Gold put out.
Was that in a video? I don't remember him saying that.
Alistair Gold said we had a war chest, and he also promised that Spurs that had a window coming like no other to fight on all 4 fronts. Right? Yeah. Sorry. Go on. Sorry. I agree.
Yeah. You know, and it's just getting depressing now listening to the same old spiel. Right, the window's shut. Let's move on. We're not going to get over it that quick, I know, but you know, it's time to move on and start supporting the team as best as we can. And yeah, you know, I mean, listening to Eugene now, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of what Eugene says because I think once you've got the narrative of Enik out, full stop, you're blinkered. Doesn't matter what goes on, but we're all, he's entitled to his opinion and fully appreciate that. I just don't agree with it.
Listen, I look at the Enik in, Enik out debate as one of 2 ways. I want Enik out, right? But I'm also old and ugly enough. I know you'll think I'm good looking, but sometimes I'm
No, you're all right. We agree with you.
All right, cool. Okay, thanks. I'm old and ugly enough that if they had a great window this year, Soren, and if they had really brought in 4 or 5 players that you go, oh, yeah, you know, we mean business, I'll turn around and go, great. I don't want them out. They just need to keep doing this, right? I'm old and ugly enough to admit that. But yet again, they've done what Enik do. So it's when people like me with the Enik out, we're told, I'm not saying you said this, but when we're told, oh, well, nothing will change your mind. It's like, well, I want something to change my mind, but it never, ever does. Still, let me come over to you on this. The whole Enik in, Enik out thing is it's poisonous, really, isn't it? Because if you dare, I mean, me and you are probably extreme. We've been Enik Out for, I mean, I probably came out the womb Enik Out. You know what I mean? Like, that's how much I hate them. But it's polarizing, right? And it's almost like you can't have an opinion and no one will respect your opinion at all if you are on one fence or the other, right?
Yeah.
How does this change? How does our fan base get to a point where we are all singing off the same hymn sheet and we're not at each other's throats about Enik in and Enik out?
Either we are playing really good football and we're knocking on the door of winning a league, getting to Champions League quarterfinals, semi-finals. That's the Alistair Gold tweet that he posted, and he was repeating what Fabio Paratici said. So clearly we haven't had a transfer window like no other, or a squad to challenge in all four fronts. And I would say to fans that think that we do have a squad to challenge in all four fronts, why has the manager of Tottenham come out and said there's a big distance between us and the people we're supposed to be challenging? So it's unraveling, right? But to unite everyone, you've got to do either what Poch did and had us knocking on the door of winning stuff, or this needs to completely crash and burn. So fans say, right, do you know what? Enough is enough. This is awful. This isn't why we built this stadium, the training ground, the money that we're earning. So it either has to become really, really brilliant on the pitch or an absolute catastrophe. There's no middle ground, Savva. That middle ground is where most fans are. Most fans, they're not Enik out or Enik in. We want Enik to change their ways, like Enik reform, let's call it. But the problem with that is, this isn't politics, guys. We're not a political organization. We're a football club. We're not here to have, let's try and have a debate online which achieves nothing because no one cares what we say. If they did, they'd do what we say. But we want to have these debates and Enik in, Levy out discussions to achieve what? To try and change fans' opinions. Why? At the end of the day, that middle ground is what needs to be swung. Once that middle ground says, right, we're all Enik out or we're all Enik in, then you'll see a togetherness. But that middle ground's not going to shift unless something very, very dramatic happens. So instead, people just want to go online and discuss and debate. And for what? We're not a political party, guys. We're not here to decide who should best manage the NHS, whether or not we should leave the EU. We're not politics, man. We're football fans. We can see what is happening, you know? So, yeah, that's why I said to you earlier, I want this to come crashing down and burning now, because when the manager has come out and said there's a massive distance, there's a big distance, what more do you want? This was the big window to close the gap. This was the window to compete on all four fronts. It hasn't happened. The manager just confirmed it by his comments. So what am I going to do? Wait for us to actually start playing good football and challenging for the league? It's not going to happen, guys. Son and Kane aren't going to stick around for this. If they do, they're idiots.
Let's talk about that. And then Kuva, I mean, let's move this on from what's actually happened in the window. Let's talk about this project, all right? I think this is a really good talking point where you get half the fan base that say it's not happening in one or two windows. It's going to take 3 or 4, maybe longer. My worry with that, Kuva, is first of all, we've been promised this before. We've been, we've been told about projects before and processes. Second of all, the points that Stel made there are spot on. Kane and Son are not getting any younger, right? Lloris is going to go, right? Even Perisic is going to be 34, 35 by the time we come around to these windows, and it will be a Doji coming in who's still young. On top of that, Kuva, the key thing for me is we act like when we say it's a project and a process, that none of our rivals around us will also be strengthening in those same years. So what is there to look forward to? I'm not being negative, but what's the aim now as a fan? What am I clinging on to that's going to change in 2024, 2025?
Same scenario as when we had Pochettino, I think. We've got to hope that there's the manager and the coaching staff are able to improve what we do have and perform some minor miracles and punch above our weight, because it's clearly not coming in through transfers that we're going to get top players. So we have to aim at a more. We'll have to look at what we do have and try and turn them into those players. Hope the likes of Jed Spence and Longley, if he becomes a permanent transfer, I hope they find that sort of form we're looking for. So it's almost an acceptance of where we are as a club because we are kept that way. We have owners. We could say the same with Arsenal in some ways. That there's a feeling of it's fine to invest so far and then take your foot off the accelerator, because when you got to a certain level, you don't need that extra manager. Like Arsenal are missing a manager, we're missing players. Between the two of us, we're underachieving where what we should be doing. Now, what is there to be positive of? Occasionally, we do get a manager in that can turn things around and can work wonders on a budget, but it's not going to be an easy ride. We have to hang in as the underdogs, which is going to be fair enough. Even if we were being totally backed at the moment, it's still going to take some real catching, the likes of City. But let's at least get ourselves in the position where we can step in if they do fall. That's what your underdog is supposed to do. Are we in that position where we can take over if City have an absolute catastrophe of some kind and, massive point loss on what's expected? No, I don't think we are. I don't think we're anywhere near that.
I mean, with that then, Corey, welcome to the show. Let me bring you in here quickly. I mean, Corey, this is the key thing for me is... You right
there? Yeah. I'm good.
There's a lot of feedback your end, mate.
Hang on, let me see. I'll come back into the stream.
Corey, Corey, tick the go to settings audio and tick echo cancellation. Settings audio, echo cancellation.
Echo cancellation. There we go. Oh God, I'm terrible with technology.
No, that's fine, mate. Listen, Corey. Look, as Kuva said there, we're almost hoping that people slip up. But are we?
Hello. It's not me. I've done what you said.
Are we? Can everyone else go on mute? Is that all right? Are we at the stage where we now need City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man U, all of these teams to be poor for us to succeed with what we've got?
I can't see it happening. Like Kuva and Stel have said already, I don't see City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Those teams have gone out and addressed the situations in their clubs. From the start, when the 150 million was announced, bringing it back to that, I saw it as a smoke screen and mirror, As soon as I saw that 150 million for on and off field screening, I was like, are we not going to spend any of that? We have to rely on players like Winks and Reggie and all the guys that were left at home while we went on tour to be sold. Now, not one of those players was sold. Then you have other media outlets going, we have this war chest. To have a war chest, you need to sell these players. Because Enik and Levy are not going to put their hands in their pockets because they've proved it time and time again until we have the stadium built. That to us fans, we are paying out of our arse. I haven't been able to afford to go to a home match in years because of just how much it costs for me to travel from Brighton, then get to the stadium, then find £100 for a ticket, then spend like 60 to 80 quid on 6 to 8 pints of beer,
Yeah.
But I want to see something happen now. It's been 15 years since we won the League Cup? 2009. So
15 years in 2023.
Yeah, I was at that match with my granddad, my uncle, I've already said this before. From then, that's when Levy and Enik should have put their hands in their pockets and went, right, we've won something here. Let's give the fans what they deserve. This is a club. We are meant to be a top 6 club in England. We are meant to be the 8th richest club in Europe. Excuse me there. So where is the ambition to go out and sign these top quality players? All right, your first 2 centre-backs have knocked you back. The world of football, there are hundreds of quality players in there that could have come in over Bastoni and Gvardiol. They aren't the only 2 answers. That was our key problem, our defence. Then our creative spark in midfield has been gone since Eriksen left. I mean, as a fan of Tottenham, I'm finding it hard to really get behind the club at the moment because when I look around, even the smaller clubs, like my hometown team, Brighton, I went out and got Billy Gilmore yesterday. All right, he's not like a woo player, but like they've gone out and sort of strengthened their positions that they've just lost this season in Basuma, in Cucurella. And you're like, why aren't we going out? We've got this money and we're not spending it because they're too tight to put their hands in their pockets and go, right, there's time to back the manager. Conte has come out. Even Jose came out and went, well, these are the problems with the club. I reckon both Jose and Conte had a conversation with each other, like, Conte, what am I getting into here?
Yeah, it does seem like Groundhog Day. Just quickly before if you can mute yourself, Corey, it is very loud at your end, just so you know. Just before I move on, just really quickly, David Clark, sorry, mate. It's for me, it's these type of comments which allow Levy and Enik to get away with it year in, year out. Right, first of all, you're saying, which is it? 3 to 4 windows to make it happen, or is it all happening now? Anybody with an ounce of common sense knew it wasn't happening this window. Right. First of all, when you're saying...
That's not what was reported, though, Savva.
Hang on. So I'll bring you in, but hang on.
Yeah.
When we say knew it wasn't happening, what is it? Because I'm not sitting here as a fan saying we should have spent enough money to challenge for a title. Not at all. My point is, what have we done to actually address as a club the gaping holes in our team and actually move forward? Because I look at the way we're playing this year and I see it's the same as last year. I look at the team this year and all we've done is addressed a left wing back. As far as I can see, we've addressed the left wing back area as a guaranteed starter. Everything else seems to be squad. So when you're saying it can't all be addressed in one window, what was addressed in this window? This is what I don't get. This narrative from fans of excuses. Sorry, David, I will call you out on this. These excuses of it won't happen in one window. I'm sorry. Look what Forrester just done in one window. Yeah? Look what Man City did in this window.
Oh, he must be trolling, bro.
Well, no. Hang on. I mean, look what Chelsea did in this window. Everyone told me Chelsea have got no goals. They've gone and got Sterling and Aubameyang. Chelsea have got no cover at left wing back. They've gone and get Cucurella. Chelsea need centre halves for Fofana and Koulibaly. I mean,
Guardiola.
Let me bring you in, Aditya. Let me bring you in here. Isn't that the sign of a big club? You go and buy what you need, not backups.
No, but that's not what our fans want, is it? They want everything to happen in 5 or 10 years project. That's what they want. You look at Manchester United, right? Even Glazers were not spending any.
No, I don't think there's any fans that want it to happen over 5 or 10 years. Doesn't matter what your thought process is. None of us want it to happen over 5 or 10 years.
No one's. I'm really fed up with the word project.
No. By 5 or 10 years, like it was said in a very sarcastic way. I meant to say long-term project. By 5 or 10 years. That's what I said. It may be 3, it may be 4, it may be 2, right? That's what I meant to say. So what I was saying is, you look at Manchester United. Everyone said they are a mess. They are this, they are that. They are 2 points behind us. That's what our fans said. And they lost 4-0 to Brentford.
So true.
Yeah, and they are 2 points behind us, right? And everyone said the same thing about Arsenal. Like, who have they played? They have not played anyone special, right? Who have we played anyone special apart from Chelsea? Nobody. Southampton, a crap team. West Ham didn't score a goal in the first 3 games. Nottingham Forest, recently promoted team. Very barely got into the playoffs last season. Signed 17, 18 players, but apparently you can't sign more than 10 players in a single window. Otherwise, you can't handle the dressing room. That's what many people say, right? And then who else have we played? Wolves. What's the difference between Wolves and Leicester? Both are in bottom 3. Arsenal beat Leicester 4-2. Then they say Leicester are in a mess. When we beat Wolves, they say Wolves are a great team. That's what our fans say. Absolute hypocrites, man. Absolute hypocrites. I'm absolutely sick of these. Sorry?
What you've got to remember in that one is, other than Nottingham Forest, we lost to all those teams last year. So
what's the guarantee that we are going to beat those teams right now who we beat last season? What's the guarantee?
Well, I agree.
No, and I agree on
6
that one.
points,
Yeah.
6 points we scored against City last season. What's the guarantee that we are going to score against 6 in this season?
Totally agree with you on that one. But, to say that the teams that we've had, we haven't had an easy start to the league. If you look at it in the games we've played, we're away. And
technically, are they good teams? Technically, are they good teams? Wolves, aren't they in bottom 3? Technically, yes or no?
Bottom
Can,
three.
can I just ask, guys, both of you? Can I
I'm
just
not
ask?
finished yet, bro.
We haven't played a team in the top 10 other than Chelsea.
Exactly. That's what I meant.
But
We
nor
can
of
get-
Arsenal.
let me
Nor of
just
Arsenal.
No,
Let me just ask. I hear this a lot, that this seems to be the narrative from fans, that we're up on points for teams we didn't beat last season. For me, the most pointless stat, fact, whatever you want to call it ever. Every year it changes who you beat, who you don't, who you draw to. I don't see what relevance that has to this season. I don't understand.
I think the relevance that I'm sort of coming across with it, Savva, is if you take all the points we lost last year away to these teams that we should have been playing.
Yeah,
I know we're not going to guarantee win this year, but if you add a certain amount of those points back onto what we could, what we hope we'll get this year, then it is a top 4 finish, isn't it? That's the way you're kind of looking at it. Now, if we carry on with the points that we're gathering now, so we drop so many out of so many, then in theory, we're going to have a better season.
No, but football is not played in theory, right? Football is played in practice. And in practice, things keep on changing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Imagine we drew all our games, right? Will we be invincible?
Who said that?
Soren, may I ask you one question?
That's
regarding
a stupid comment, though, Eugene.
Soren, may I ask you one question regarding this conversation that we were having?
As long as it's not too hard.
No, it's very hard, bro.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very hard. Yeah, I was saying, in your honest opinion, like without being Levy in or Levy out, whatever it is, just honest analysis. Let's take the big 6 teams like Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, us, Arsenal, and who else? Man United, right? Even West Ham. As compared to last season,
Not West Ham.
out. Yeah, like top 6 and whatever it is.
Yeah, go on with the
That's
question.
what I mean. So out of these 7 teams, who have improved? Like if you have to list them in order, this team improved the most, this team improved the most, that team improved the least. Where we will rank? In my opinion, we are 7th. As compared to what we were last season and what they were last season.
What, so
how much we have improved? We are 7th in my opinion.
You think we're
I
behind
think
West
West Ham have
Ham?
improved more. No, not absolutely. Like in relative terms, what West Ham were last
I think
season,
we've improved
what
more
they
than
are-
Liverpool. I think we've improved more than Liverpool.
I think we've improved more than Arsenal as well.
But
personally.
Liverpool's still better than us, though. So
Yeah, but the problem is with that, though, at least 3 of those teams already started off better than us in the first place.
Are you sure we have improved more than Liverpool? Still.
I mean,
Looking
it's
at
an
how
interesting
Cavani-
one.
I don't think Liverpool had
I
a
don't
good
think
win.
so, bro.
I don't think they had a
Bro,
good win.
looking at how Carvalho is playing at the moment, it's not looking like they have actually not improved.
Let me ask the whole panel then. Let me ask this. It's that context word. Have we improved more than Liverpool? We've got to remember that we had a load to do, and Liverpool were a team that nearly done the quad, right? So Liverpool's transfer window was never going to be needing 7-8 players, was it? No. Liverpool's transfer window was Mane out, Nunes in, and now they've gone and got Artemelo as well as Fabio Carvalho, who is a very, very good young player, but probably not going to start lots and lots of games. The thing is, they didn't have lots of gaping gaps to address. So it's always going to be difficult to say, did we strengthen more than Liverpool? Well, did we? We've bought in, from the 7 we've signed, what areas, guys, have we actually strengthened? We can talk about Basuma all we want, but is Basuma head and shoulders above what we've already got in midfield and offers something different? Remains to be seen in a 2, because he used to play in a 3. Spence isn't going to play. Udogie's gone on loan. Forster's not going to play. Richarlison doesn't make us. He makes us better from off the bench.
Yeah, maybe you're right then. Maybe you're right.
He doesn't make the 11 better. So other than
many
Perisic,
people are even including Lancashire on the list. I don't understand. That guy from Sheffield United.
I tried to be positive for one.
Aditya, let's not be silly. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the main players that came into the club. Other than Perisic, I don't see what has massively strengthened. And so when we're talking about we've massively more strengthened than Liverpool, in what way have we massively strengthened more than Liverpool? Charlie, you haven't said anything for a while. What do you think?
You have to, it's two completely different situations. What Aditya said, I don't think you can compare them really, because different teams have different needs, and Liverpool had a lot less needs than we had. We have to remember that Liverpool had a need to replace Mane, who was leaving. Look, obviously, we can say what we want about Nunes, but it's kind of remains to be seen what he's going to do. And they needed a midfielder. They got one. Whatever you want to say about him. So I think Liverpool had a lot less to do. We were in a situation where we needed a lot, and for our needs, we haven't fulfilled all our needs. Where if you look at Liverpool, for example, they had way less needs, but they filled them. So for me, it's very difficult to compare them. Like you can even look at Man City as well. What was their number one need? A striker. They got it. That was their Man City. Basically,
they got two. Charlie.
Yeah, they got two. Alvarez.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, bro. Like amongst those teams who were not really like Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea, like us, Arsenal, United, and West Ham, where do you rank us on the list in terms of transfer window?
What I'd say about Arsenal is they have made I think they've made two signings that improved their 11. Obviously, Jesus and Zinchenko. However, I still think they've got problems. Him coming back.
They already had him.
Yeah, no, but he's a new player. Still, he's a new player. He never played for them.
No,
yeah, but that's like saying we brought back Brian Hill and he's a new signing. No, he's been there for.
No, but he's not as good as Saliba. That's the difference, no?
No. You're making your argument.
Wait, hold on. Can I finish?
Yeah. Go on, Charlie.
So I was saying, right, if you look at Arsenal, I think they're in a little bit of a similar boat to we are, because I still look at their team and I still think they have issues. They needed a winger. Yeah. They needed another midfielder. They needed another number 10 as well. This is just my opinion. They needed a right back and they didn't get any of those things. So you kind of, if you look at it, it's a very similar boat. I think you referred to this. I think it might have been yesterday, Savva. You said they had a very similar window to what we had. And I tend to agree. So if you obviously, I think Aditya said West Ham. I think West Ham for their needs, I think they've done well. I think for their needs. And who's the other one? United. I think they've spent the most money now. It might be Chelsea. I might be wrong, but I think so. No, you've got a point there. But I think if you're comparing it to the teams of the level we want to reach as a fan base, it's different. It's almost impossible to compare, because they have different needs and a lot less needs than we do.
Let me come to Kuvva then. Kuvva, it's interesting because I said it last night, and I don't know, people probably have a right pot because it's Arsenal, but if we take off our hatred for them, I likened our window to theirs in the fact that I think both clubs bought in about 6 or 7 players. Both clubs bought in, arguably they've got 2 that are immediate starters, but we could have 2, but so far it's only really been Perisic. The rest are all very hit and miss, right? As in, will they be bench players? Will they get a lot of games? Again, the mixture of youngsters, a backup goalkeeper. Would it be fair to say that at the moment, as much as our fans want to think that we're a million miles past Arsenal, the 2 clubs are on a very similar path in terms of league position, how we conduct ourselves in transfer markets, depth. There's not really anything from either club that's going to scare the big boys, is there? I think you're on mute.
Rookie mistake. Yeah, that's the harsh fact.
Sort it out. This is professional right here, right?
You've done this before, Kuvva.
Jesus Christ.
Right, I'm out. No, yeah, it's. I think it's fair to make the comparisons. There's a lot of comparisons we can make with that. Noisy neighbours. We don't like doing it, and we enjoy the fact that we are ahead of them in the league. Well, not at the moment we're not, but finishing positions we have been, which is nice. But ultimately, we're not getting anything more than that, and they're coming back into it with their signings. Currently ahead of us, they made some good signings. I think Jesus is a very good signing. I think Zinchenko is a really good signing. I think they've done the same as us, in that they could have done a little bit more and haven't. They could have bolstered that midfield more. They could have got an extra right winger, perhaps. They've done pretty well otherwise. I mean, the likes of Saliba is a great signing, I think. it's where they're going to come down is the likes of Partey being injured long term. Who have they got coming in then? When they're relying on El Nene and Xhaka, that's not going to last too long.
Conga.
Yeah, exactly. If they
the manager as well.
Yeah, well, the manager's the big difference at the moment for me. I think they'd probably be winning things if Conte had gone there, with the amount of investments they're doing anyway. But it's that lack of getting the right player in the right position and the lack of depth. It's going to harm both teams. I think they're going to be major rivals for us for fourth place this season.
But would you agree, Kuva, that I think our squad is stronger than their squad as a full squad? Do you not think?
Is it?
Yeah, you take Jesus out of their team, and if say we take Kane out, I would say we've got better options up front still than they have.
You take Romero out of our team.
Richarlison's a better second striker than Nketiah. That's one thing.
I agree.
If Perisic gets injured, who comes in?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it works. It works in all positions.
If Emerson gets injured, who comes in?
If Emerson gets injured, then we get a better right back in.
Exactly.
Who's that? Doherty just.
Well, I'd rather be giving Spencer a run of games than persisting with Emerson. We don't know how
Conte didn't want him.
Guys, I think the key thing for me here is what I think a lot of Spurs fans do is we try to find reasons as to why we're a lot better than Arsenal when in fact they don't really exist.
I don't think it's a case of...
We finished 2 points above them.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're going back to that argument, Stel, then we could say both teams could have finished a lot more points better off if both of us cocked it up, didn't we? You know
both teams kept bottling it, but then luckily it was Arsenal that
we dropped a lot of points last year.
Newcastle are much better. I think Man United are getting their shit together. This isn't the same season as last year. We haven't taken. I don't think we've taken. In fact, I know we haven't taken advantage of that lead we had on them by getting Champions League. Had we have gone in and bought 3 or 4 top players, I think we could have kept the distance. I think now what's happened is we've let them back in.
We have allowed Manchester United to come back in, bro. They will be in for top 4.
100%.
I won't be surprised that they will.
We're going to talk about the top 4 in a minute. We're going to talk about the top 4 in a minute, guys. We'll push it onto that. I think Stel's hit on a good point there, Eugene. That it was the fact that we did finish above them. And by the way, can I just say, all of this we did really well to finish above them last year. I don't celebrate that because to finish above an Arsenal team whose forward line was Eddie Nketiah and Martinelli and Lacazette, when we had Kane, Son and Kulusevski, that should have been a given, right? I don't see that as a minor miracle. That should be an absolute given, right? Now, Stel makes the point, Eugene, that, we finished 2 points above the Arsenal, but have we really done a lot to really kick on from that? I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all, it's just being above Arsenal, but we should be leaving teams like that in our rear-view mirror, surely.
Come on, Savva. We've never done that, right? We never kicked on, right? All these years, we've never kicked on, right? We brought in Conte, and we were expecting big things this season. What happened, right? We witnessed it. We witnessed it so many times over and over again, and we're still somehow or another. A lot of the fan base out there accepts it, but like us on the panel, most of us don't, right? But of course, in the end of the day, like what we have to put is, if we cannot be above Arsenal this season, right? Then like what Stel is correct, right? Most probably everything will come crumbling down. But at the moment now, as I see it, Arsenal are clicking well, right? They're playing well, right? Come on. You only can play who's in front of you, right? And they've won 5 out of 5, right? And we play what was in front of us, and we've seen how we play, right? So at the moment, I can say that they're a much better team than us, no matter how hard is it for me to say it, right? But they are a much better team than us, right? Yeah. It's so obvious, right? Then maybe let's see this weekend. This weekend they're coming up. They're playing Manchester United, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let's see there. Let's see what happens there. Right. So that could be their test. For all you know, they could go out and smash Manchester United. Then what are we going to say? What are we going to say then?
Well,
right.
Let me just quickly then, just before we move on, let me just quickly. So first of all, thank you, Francis, for the first of 2 super chats you've given here. Says no way Arsenal sign players to go straight into their first 11. No club can sign all. We signed bench players. Plus, they are playing better football. He's followed that up by saying they are playing better football. Oh my God. Lots of comments about Jesus going on in the chat. I mean, David Clark, it seems really upset. He's saying we're talking about him like he's the second coming. And he's playing second fiddle for the Brazilian team. But guys, last thing I want to talk about with Arsenal, because this isn't an Arsenal show. Arsenal needed a striker. They've gone out and got a very experienced Premiership striker with a winning pedigree. That is good recruitment, right? That is what I thought we were going to do with the areas that we needed, like right wing back and centre back. But when Arsenal do it, we knock them for doing it, but big up our backup players. So what, is this jealousy? Is this just pure hate? Is this fans not rating Jesus? What's going on? Ditcher, let me bring you in there.
Is it a question for me?
Yeah, you're the only Ditcher here. Yeah, it's you.
Delusion is the only thing. That's the reason why they say all these things. Like apparently he was dog shit, no? Gabriel Jesus. He only scored 8 goals last season. He's dog shit. He can't play over Richarlison. That's what they were saying. And now they are just wishing that he gets injured and Arsenal season breaks down. That's what they are thinking right now. And that's what happens all the time. Like our club doesn't show enough ambition, and all of our fans already know that we are not going to do anything. So the only hope they have got is to wish, belittle other teams, other teams' players. That's how they can gain solace from them, isn't it? That's the thing about our fans. And the funny thing is, you look at Man United fans, right? Glazers were not signing any players. They protest outside the Old Trafford. Is that the name of their stadium?
Who?
Yeah, Old Trafford. Yeah.
And then they signed Casemiro and Antony, 150 million pounds all of a sudden because of fans' activism. Our fans don't do that for some reasons.
Yeah.
Like there is something within our fan base that we have to act very nice. We have to protect our reputation. We can't criticize anyone. We have to just praise the board all the time. I don't know what is the thing with our fans, bro. Seriously. And even when somebody does that, he's called as negative. He's called as Arsenal fan. He's called as Chelsea fan. What's all this thing about, bro? Just tell me. I don't understand this.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Corey, let me bring you in there. Again, sorry, David. All I can see you doing in the chat is belittling people like Zinchenko and Jesus. But these are serial winning players. These are serial winning players that have played for Man City, that were trusted by Pep Guardiola for 5, 6, 7 years, that go straight into the Arsenal 11. Corey, the thing for me is, I think a massive word that I always use is context.
Yeah, you do. You use it quite a lot there, Savva, and they were moulded by Pep, to be these serial winners, these players that can come into a team off the bench or even into a starting 11 like Arsenal. When I look around at our bench and I look at our transfers, it's just, what do we bring on to change a game? We don't have that now. We let 8 players go out on loan, letting Reggie go out on loan. I mean, I like Reguilon. He's better than Cess. That's my opinion. So letting Reggie go was a bit of a mistake. Maybe this year we could have used him. We've got 3 right wing backs. Why can't we have 3 right left wing backs? Yeah. We haven't got a massive amount of cover at centre back. It's just dog shit. I can tell you now, when we go to play City, our Haaland is just going to absolutely rinse star, and my PTSD is going to kick right in because there's going to be a murder on that pitch with him. Sorry if I've offended anyone there, but that's an opinion. Are you still getting reverb from me because I've been sorting out settings and everything?
It's fine.
And then when I look at Arsenal, why is it cynical to sit here as a fan base? These blokes in other teams have families, they earn their crust. Is it cynical to sit here and think, I wish he was injured, gives us a chance? Right, tactically in a game of football, you want the best players on the opposite team, but I want to watch football at its purest when 11 men are against 11 men. The best of those two teams are hitting heads with each other. You know, I don't want to see the way Liverpool are with 10 players out. If we had 10 players out, who the fuck have we got? My language, but who the hell do we have if we have 10 players out? If Kane, Son, Kulu go, we've got Ricky. Wow. What about our midfield?
No, you're 100% right. I mean, Stel, let me bring you in here. And first of all, just before I do move on, Serge Reguilon, just miles better than Sessegnon, in my opinion. Miles better. Sessegnon has got this weird cult following for a bloke that can't cross, isn't very good at defending, no confidence, and can't beat a man. He's got a real weird cult following. Stel, top four. I want everyone, this is going to be, so hear this question for all of you. I'll start with you, Stel. I've said top four or window, so I'm not going to change my opinion now. But I am more worried than ever. In the last 3 months, I'm more worried than I have been all window about that top four spot. Because I do think that I don't see us as much better than Arsenal or much better than Man United. Now, considering Man United were meant to be in this great, big, massive mess, doesn't that speak volumes about how we've not kicked on? That I'm hearing people today with the same opinion saying, well, don't rule out Man United for fourth all of a sudden.
You asked me to tell you where I think we're going to finish.
Yeah, man. Just to talk about that in general.
Well, I predicted before that we would finish fifth, and everyone kind of laughed. And then I caveated it by saying that if we sign 2 or 3 top players, I think we can get third, knock on the door a second.
Yeah.
So it depends what happens in the window. We haven't signed anyone. So it is so difficult to tell because we don't know how 2 games a week is going to impact Man United, Arsenal as well. Newcastle, I think, are they in Europe next year or not? I don't think they are they? Right, so they can sneak into Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle are not in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could take advantage of that. It's impossible to tell where anyone's going to fit. I think, look, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, I think we'll all get top 4. I don't doubt any of those 3 getting it. It's going to be between us, United, Arsenal, and maybe Newcastle. It depends how they all cope. It depends who gets the worst injuries. It depends what fatigue issues our players get during the World Cup. It depends who buys what in January. As it stands now, if it's just like now, I think we're going to fall short. I think we're just going to miss out. I thought we were going to miss out last year, and to be honest with you, we would have if Arsenal didn't bottle it. We would have, but they did bottle it, and we took advantage, right? So we have to give credit to Tottenham. They put themselves in a position that if a slip-up happens, we could pounce, and we did. We took advantage of it. But this year, I mean, how motivated are our players going to be if all we end up in is another top 4 race? I mean, I think the energy came because it was new, Conte, elite. He galvanized them, and he did what he did as an elite manager. There's only so many years that can be the remit, and the players are on board with it. You know, in the end, the wheels just came off Poch's reign, completely came off because players are like, this isn't working, man. So I don't see. Whereas Arsenal got a point to prove, they've got the bit between their teeth. It's like we want to prove that we should have got it last year. Man United, they've got that Conte effect. Good manager, bought 4 really good players in. They're going to want to prove. They want to put Man United back where, let's be honest, Man United belong in the top 4. What's our motivation? That's what I'm going to question. If all we do is end up in the top 4 race. So I think we're going to fall short, guys.
New stadium will be the motivation. New stadium.
Say that again?
New stadium.
New stadium will be the motivation, bro.
Yeah, we might want to win. Yeah, we might want to win grass pitch of the Euro Award again.
Beautiful furniture, all these things will be the motivation.
Yeah, grass pitch of the
Beautiful
Euro
gym, you know, top quality weights.
Longest
all
bar
these
in the
things.
world. Longest bar.
Exactly.
You know, listen, jokes aside, I think if we're not challenging for trophies this season, I think the motivation is a difficult thing to maintain. And have we brought the players in to challenge for trophies? Well, we've got to beat Liverpool, Chelsea and City to the Carabao Cup and FA Cup. They're the realistic trophies. Can we beat all of them? But this didn't look good against Chelsea the first time we played them this season.
This this is the thing.
Remember this morning I was saying, most probably Conte is going to drop all the cups, right? That's how he's going to do it.
We're not good enough for the league title.
I mean, guys, I was going to come to that afterwards about importance, but just quickly, I just want to go round to Soren. Look, I'm seeing more than ever now people in comments sections of YouTube channels, on Instagram, of everything. All of a sudden, these people that were telling me we were in a title challenge a few weeks ago, and now I'm seeing more fourths, fifths, some people saying sixth. Is that where you're at? What are you thinking for this season? Where do you see us now that the dust has settled and the window is closed?
Well, I mean, the first thing I'm going to say is those fans that thought we were realistically in a title challenge, then they're pretty delusional, really. I mean, we were never going to be in a title challenge this year. And, you know, I mean, I just laugh at it when you see people saying we're in I mean, the only way we're in a title challenge is if all of a sudden the wheels come off at City and Liverpool. Let's be honest, and it ain't going to happen to both teams. Going back to when somebody said, you know, what's going to happen when City come to Tottenham or we go to City, I think that's the same with every team in the league at the moment. City do not look as though they're going to slip up at all. So, you know, we're not going to try and base our thing on that. But I still think top four. And again, I disagree with Yuji. It's becoming regular, isn't it? I think we could win a cup this year. It only takes Liverpool and City to play each other. One of them's gone. It only then takes City or Liverpool to play somebody else. Then they're gone. You know, there is every chance. Winning a cup is a lottery. Yes.
Is it?
Well,
is it?
It is.
Look who's won the cup.
For you.
Hang on. Otherwise, we'll never finish the show. Look who's won all the cups in the last 5 years.
No,
that's
and
not
I
a
agree
lottery,
that,
is it?
but it isn't because it only takes those teams to avoid each other all the way to the final. If they all play each other on the way to the
Chelsea
final,
are playing Man City, by the way.
Pardon?
Chelsea are playing Man City, by the way.
Yeah.
In the League Cup, isn't it? So
And
one of them will
that's
go
one
out.
of them two out, isn't it? And then say City and Liverpool, if City go through, and we just have a real easy run, then there's
Crystal
every chance.
Palace final, something like that.
Yeah, I mean we've got Forest again.
You remember the run we had to the final with Jose that season?
Yeah, but I mean, you look at it over the last few years. We've got to a couple of. I mean, we were in the Champions
And then
League
we
final
sacked him,
not
bro.
long ago.
And then we sacked him.
Yeah.
5 days before the cup finals. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I mean,
a
that
whole
was
nother-
ridiculous.
That's a story for another day.
You know, but our team has bottled it in some finals recently, so let's not forget that one. But I still think top four. I don't see why we can't.
So, Soren, I have a question for you over the things
Number
that
one.
you just said earlier. Over that it's very unrealistic to challenge Man City and Liverpool for the title. But don't you think, like, should that be acceptable though, as a fan base, all of us, that our owners are not putting us into that position where we can actually go after Man City? Should that be acceptable though, in your opinion?
No, it shouldn't be acceptable. I don't think any fan finds it acceptable. But there is a difference between being realistic and being optimistic and being negative, as you know, a lot of people keep getting called. If we look at how it is at the moment, we would have had to have thrown hundreds of millions of pounds at this team to be challenging for the title this year, and it was never going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean to say we don't want to challenge for the title. We all want to challenge for the title. I mean, I'd love to see my team win a title before I die. You know, there's not many years left for it to happen.
Soren, why do we need to throw hundreds of millions of pounds at it?
Because the team isn't good enough, and we know that.
Why can't we buy 3 top players rather than 7 for the same money?
So let's take that. So if we didn't have the players that we bought in, so we had the squad that we ended with last year, and we buy. Yeah. I mean, I'm presuming we're maybe talking a Guardiola or a Hakimi, somebody like that. So we buy. Well, the rest of the team's still weak, and if those 2 or 3 players that we did,
but you've mentioned one player though. You mentioned one player.
I've mentioned 2. Sorry, then Bastoni. So who else? You know,
get Hakimi at right back. Get Bremer at centre back, and then get a creative mid.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I just said. Hakimi at right back, Guardiola in defence.
That's a massive upgrade. That's a massive upgrade.
But again, it then takes one of those players or two of those players to get injured, and we're actually worse off than what we are now. Because, I mean, I don't disagree that we still need.
How? If Romero gets injured, it's still Sanchez that comes on.
Then so say Kane gets injured, who's replacing him?
Well, we would have bought the attacking mid. So it's not.
Can I throw my 2 pence in here? The thing for me with all of this, and Kuva, I'm going to come to you in a second as well. The thing for me with all of this is, whilst I agree that I didn't think there was anything we really would have done this window to challenge City for the title.
No.
However, what it would have been nice to have seen is, rather than 7 players come in of varying abilities, some are starters, some are not, couldn't we have done what Man United and Chelsea have done? Man United have signed 5 players that will all start the majority of their games, won't they? Malacia at left back, Martinez at centre half, Eriksen, Anthony, and Casemiro. Right? None of those you would expect will be sitting on Man United's bench most match days. Right? Eriksen might get rotated for Bruno, but in general, they're going to play. Cucurella's going to play. Fofana, Koulibaly, Aubameyang, Sterling.
Yeah.
So why have we had to spend our whatever figure people want to say between 90 and 128 million? Why for us has that money got to be split across loads of players that aren't guaranteed starters? That's my issue with this window. Why? Kuva, I'll go to you with that. What do you know what I mean?
There's no the only reason is we have owners that don't want to do that. They easily could. We're in no danger of breaking financial fair play rules. With that, we've got rigid wage structure. That's the thing. When it comes to top players, we're not prepared to pay those wages.
I agree.
We're not prepared to splash out on those big name ones and really make the difference. It's always got to be within the confines of this strict budget, wage structure, whatever you want to look at it. It's the way the club is run, and they run it as a business. We are not owned by football fans. We are owned by a business. So that's the way it is. That's why I'm sick of it.
Soren, over the things that you just said, that it's not realistic to expect us to challenge for spend like Man City or Liverpool. Is it? Are we richer than West Ham and Forest? What do you think about that?
Sorry, so that last
are we richer than West Ham and Forest?
Yeah. Yes or no?
Yes, we are.
Can we spend more than them? Yes or no?
Hang on. So yes, we are richer than West Ham and Forest. 2 things to look at that. Forest. So they've just come in. They've just had a great big windfall. They've got far less debt than Tottenham have. Tottenham, I mean, and look,
we don't have any debt.
These type of questions are going to paint me slightly the way that I don't want to come across. But we've just built a stadium that cost £1 billion or whatever it came out.
That is an asset.
Let me finish. West Ham are sat in a stadium that they don't own.
So what? So what?
So they're not.
Aditya, let him finish. Aditya, you've asked him.
Bro,
let him.
That is against the asset. It's getting paid every year from our revenues, bro.
Aditya, answer and then speak after he finishes.
Aditya, you can't keep asking people questions and then not letting them answer.
So Tottenham they are a richer club. And I'm not defending the fact that they didn't spend the money, because I think we should have done. What I'm saying is, though, if you're going to compare Tottenham to West Ham and to Nottingham Forest, it's 3 totally different aspects of the game. Forest have come up, they've punted on staying in. Now, would I wanted Tottenham to buy 21 players? Bloody wouldn't, because that club could be in disarray. You're going to have a lot of players in that team that are not happy. And what about all the players that they've already got? West Ham, it's still to be seen what they've bought. Paqueta, he could have probably easily walked into Tottenham's team when we look at what he seems to have done. I don't understand why we didn't go for him. There's obviously reasons. But look, it doesn't matter how we look at it. Tottenham didn't spend it. And it's like Kuva's just said, we run differently to a lot of other clubs. Whether it's right or wrong, whether you agree with it or whether you don't, it's a fact. Now, until either that changes or we go along with it, it's whichever way you want to go. But while Enik are in charge, this is how it is going to be, unfortunately. Doesn't
But
mean
shouldn't that be forced to change, bro?
Pardon?
By the pressure from the fans, shouldn't that be forced to change though?
Do you really think that if you have 1,000 fans stood outside the stadium, that Enik are going to suddenly think, "Oh, we're going to sell"?
1,000 is not enough.
They won't sell. No. But at least they will change their policies. That's what I'm saying.
They won't.
Soren, I had this debate with someone last year, and this is my thinking here. If we have a proper protest, I'm 10, 15,000, like what Man United do, it's going to make the headlines. It's going to make Sky Sports. It's going to make the media. Now, at that stage, that is a negative look on the club. That is bad news.
Yeah.
Levy and Enik don't need that heat, because suddenly the NFL picks up the phone and says, guys, we can't be having this look on the NFL. If that vibe is in the stadium as well, all the corporate boxes are then on the phone to the club saying, we come here to entertain our clients and guests, and all we're hearing is, fuck this, get him out, boo. This isn't entertainment. Sponsors, Nike, AIA, guys, this is a brand that we are sharing with you. This isn't good on our brand. The heat and the pressure begins to turn up on them. And if that continues, 1 or 2 protests don't do nothing. If it becomes a regular thing, suddenly the job of the chairman and the ownership becomes intolerable. Now, fans are getting back control of the club through a organized, structured protest that has put heat on what? The most important thing to them, the income streams.
Yeah.
The sponsors. So for me, but to organize that is one hell of a task.
Yeah.
And the only way I see that reaction happening is if something very, very, very bad goes wrong at the club and the wheels come flying off.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. But for that to happen, I don't think we've got the fan base with an appetite for that. I don't think the appetite's there.
Sorry, can I just quickly read out some super chats? Sorry, these people have been waiting really patiently. We'll come back to this, and then for the last 15, I want to talk about a few different things. So first of all, it's Francis again. Thank you, very kind. Said I want to see a plan to play good to the strength of our attack and win and compete. A team with the best attack, for fuck's sake. We are boring. We are scraping wins. I hear you. I feel you. It feels really disappointing to have the forward line we have, but yet not play any football behind them. I hear you. He's come back in France again and said, like it or not, Arsenal have a plan with a young team and they can hope to challenge soon with young good players, while Kane and Son are 30 now. Lot to be said for it. I do agree. And then Borodin has come in and said, how many of our loan deals can you see coming back? And this is what I wanted to talk to you about, guys. When we talk about the transfer window, everyone seems to mention Cummings in, right? That's what we talk about. For me, I think one of the bigger issues is that I feel like all we've done is kick a can down the road tell me if I miss anyone. Rodon, Lo Celso, Ndombele, Reguilon, Winks, Scarlett's gone out, Parrott's gone out. I don't think I've missed anyone. Sorry? Adoji. So, of course, the young players, cool, we'll leave them out. But are we going to be in a position, guys, and I'll start with you, Charlie, are we going to be in a position where next summer we are sitting there again and our transfer window is going to be dependent on shifting deadwood, and these 5 players again, we're not going to be able to sell, and it's going to dominate the last half of our window like this clearly has?
Unfortunately, the answer is yes, because the simple facts are they're all loans. Apart from Bergwijn, they're all loans. Like, look, we have to kind of find an answer to kind of why literally all of them are not like a couple here and there, but literally all of them are loans. That's the part. Like we couldn't even, apart from Bergwijn, we couldn't even get one sale or at least one obligation in this. And unfortunately, it's true that it's just a can kick down the road. We're gonna come back next summer, and they're all gonna be back, and we're gonna have to find a way to get rid of them again. And for me, with a few of them, I can see it being a situation where we keep loaning them out until their contracts expire, and that's terrible from a business point of view, because you're not making any money back, and then unfortunately, there's a possibility where that will be the excuse to why we might not get players in, because we can't sell them, and all these different things. So yeah, it's a massive problem. And it's just baffling how we've only been able to sell one of them. It's just baffling. Like that says to me a few things, that clearly there's even absolutely no market for them, or once again, they're asking for unrealistic fees based on a value. For instance, with Ndombele's case, based on a value from a few years ago, when the reality is that value has changed and it's not the same right now. So I don't know why that is. I don't know if you guys can put your finger on it, but I just find it incredibly silly and just baffling how we haven't been able to actually sell any of them apart from one. It's bad business. It really is. And I think
if you look around Europe though, Charlie, a lot of European teams haven't bought a lot of players. And it's basically the Premier has spent the money this year. And that's the way the problem comes, that we can't sell the players if nobody puts an offer in for them. And I agree with you fully that come next season, we're going to have the same. And we're going to have problems, but at least we've got them out. And that is part of the problem of not getting more players in. But before I do move on, I just want to say to Stel, totally agree with what you've just said, mate. Totally agree with the way you've just said it on the fan base protesting.
Yeah.
Couldn't disagree.
I agree with that as well.
Eugene, let me come to you. Guys, we're going to go for another 8 minutes. So if we can wrap up these answers quickly, because I've got one more topic as well. Eugene, just really quickly, the loans coming back next year, would we have been better off paying some of them out and getting rid of them off the books? Would that have been better, or are we going to get value for having them on loan?
Come on, Savva. You know, the loanies that we sent out, right? It's going to be like this, right? They're going to be so brilliant, right? They're going to have a barnstorming 4 months, right? And all the teams that have been loaned out to, they want to buy them. But the problem is, will they get the price, right? It's the price now. We're talking about these guys going out on loan. Why can't we sell them? It's maybe the price. The price isn't right? We're not going to sell Wings for £5 million. We're not going to sell Reggie for £10 million, right? Levy wants his money back, right? It's always about the money in the end of the day, right? Imagine we are sending these loanies out, right? And we are paying 75% of their wages. Come on, 75%. I think the only thing that's why we got them out, right, is because Conte didn't want to see their faces in Hotspur Way or something like that, right? To get them far away from the squad, right? That was what's happened. But if they come back, they will come back, right?
Yeah.
And whether we sell them after that, who knows? Who knows? Maybe.
Okay, Kuva, just quickly, the last comment on this. I mean, look, there's a lot to be said about not being a lot of money around in Europe, etc. And obviously, this is legacy problems from the club. These aren't Conte and Paratici issues as such. So I do cut them some slack on that front. But at what stage does it become a recurring theme, and that at some point we've got to swallow this?
At what point did the club start saying these are signings for the future? We've done this for a long time. There's always it's a constant rebuild. It's a constant planning for the future. It's like sign a few players for now, but in the future we will have these players come in. Everything will be fine. What happens? They don't make it. We have a massive rebuild. Then we repeat the process, do it over and over again. This is a systemic failure in what we're doing in transfer policy. We've done it since Levy took over. It's not addressing what's currently needs fixing in the hope that he can do a budget version of fixing things for tomorrow, and it never works. How many of these players that come in that have like aged under 21 that we say, oh, it's going to be the next big thing. Put them
Yeah.
out on loan. Nothing happens. We're lucky if we get money back on them. This
Still
isn't a
cutting
new
corners.
thing. It's not new to this window. We've done this for ages. You look at all those players in the past that we brought
Vincent
in.
Janssen,
Clark,
Vincent Janssen.
Parrott, right?
and Kudu, NG.
Yeah,
Oh.
it goes back decades. It literally decades.
I think the thing you've got to look
Jetson
at
Fernandez.
with the owners and that, if you split the club into two, one is a business model and one is a footballing model that we as fans want to see. Would you say, as a business model, they've been successful?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a bit of both, really. There.
no,
Is
yeah,
it?
but I mean, the thing
Or
is,
isn't it?
the business model, they are very successful. As a footballing entity on the pitch, they are
Zero.
not successful at all. And I don't think you'll find a fan that would disagree with either of those. Put them
Alistair
together
Gold.
and say, are we a great football team? No.
Alistair Gold, Dan K. Patrick's asked them, they will say they are great owners on football pitch as well. That's what they will say.
I don't
There
know.
are.
No,
Cheese Spurs podcast, bro. Cheese Spurs. They will say.
If you ask them outside of their jobs and podcasts, they'd probably say a different answer. Probably.
Yeah,
Look,
maybe.
It's listen. I don't think
They
one
get paid by
trophy,
the clubs, right?
one
They get
trophy
paid by the
20
club.
years. One trophy 20 years answers that. It answers
Yeah.
the question.
I don't.
No,
I
but
don't
they'll
even
bring
think
the
that's the
league
debate.
positions. No, still. They'll bring the league positions, no?
As a
Average league
business
position
model, we
or
are probably one of
Champions
the
League
most
or
successful
something.
teams there is.
Yeah, that's
I agree.
But
I
that
agree.
doesn't help us as fans. That's the problem.
Exactly. Yes.
No,
100%.
I completely agree with you, guys. Listen, I'm going to wrap up in 3 minutes, so I'm going to just quickly go around. I want to know if any of you think I'm going to go ask you one by one. If any of you think we will not make top four, and if any of you think we will win a cup, yeah. And I'm going to assume that no one thinks we can win the Champions League, but let me know if you do. Let me start with you, Charlie. Are Spurs definitely getting top four, and are we winning a cup in your opinion?
I think we will get top four. I think we'll finish fourth. For a similar reason to you, Savva. I think the firepower's there for us. I think if you compare us to like Arsenal and United, I just think we have way more firepower. And I think because of the pure just ruthlessness that our front three have in front of goal, I think that's going to fire us to top four. Considering as well last season, right, whatever you want to say, we got top four despite having Nuno for 3 months or whatever it was. And Conte came in mid-season and he got. So I think we'll be there again, as we've gone over many times. Unfortunately, we have not done what's required to go further. So I think fourth right now is probably the most kind of realistic position. So I'll go with fourth. I think the firepower will get us there. And in terms of the cup, right, the cup's a strange one because obviously, if you're going off logic, well, not logic. If you're going off kind of history in the recent years, the answers suggest it's no. But at the same time, with the cups, you need a lot of luck, right? If you're going to get to like a cup final and stuff, you need to have a favourable draw. You're going to need the big teams to play each other and crash out, or be on the wrong end of an upset. So the cup's a strange one. It all depends. It just, for me, with the cup, the main thing is if we do reach a final, which we've shown we have been able to reach finals and semi-finals, do we have the mentality to get over the line? And because look, if we're playing Man City or Liverpool or someone, yeah, those teams are better than us. Yeah, those teams are on another level to us, but it's a one-off game. And you just don't know. So, yeah, the odds might be against us. Yeah, we might have a 10% chance. But in a one-off game, you just don't know for certain. It might be unlikely, but it's not for certain. So I'll be honest, the cup one I can't answer because, and you could say this, you could argue the same with anything because we don't know what injuries are going to happen. We don't know what injuries other teams are going to get. So we don't know if it's going to unravel as badly as some of us might anticipate. So it's an interesting one, but I'm going to say we'll finish fourth. And the cup one, look, I'll be honest, I can't answer the cup one. It all comes down to luck, that one.
Well, I would love to ask everyone else, but Charlie took the whole 3 minutes. I'll go for 3 more minutes. Can we please? Sorry, I need to speak these around. No, you're okay. You're okay. Aditya, top four, yes or no? Cup, yes or no?
I think we will finish 4th, and I'll answer this in a slightly more diluted way. We'll win a League Cup. I'll say that. 4th and a League Cup. That's what I'll say.
I'll take that.
But I wouldn't be
4th and a League
surprised
Cup.
if we get 5th and Arsenal get 4th. I wouldn't be surprised because I think we are pretty much equal. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay, Corey, what are we saying? Top 4 cup?
Top 4, no cup. I think Conte doesn't want to focus on the cups. He wants to get us to January because of where the World Cup is placed this year. It's going to be a slog if we stay in these cups longer than what we need to.
Okay,
That's my opinion. I want us to win the cups, but with the World Cup being slapped straight where it is, if the World Cup was in the summer, I'd say 4th, try and win it all. Now, with me thinking, do we have the longevity? Do we have the players to really push? Do we have the right rotation options? Do we have the right strength? No. 4th, and it's going to be scrappy to get 4th.
Okay. Soren?
Just to be different, top 4 Champions League.
Do you honestly believe we'll win it?
No.
No, I don't
top
think
4. Top 4. And I honestly do think
that happens.
We will go for one of the cups. I do think we'll go for one.
Okay.
And it probably will be the league, but top 4 and a good run somewhere.
Okay. Eugene, the quad?
Now, I'm going to say this, right? If Conte is still here, top 4. All right? If Conte is still here, top 4. Okay? And Conte is going to drop all the cups just to get that top 4 with the team we have. But if we do improve in January, and hopefully Conte is still here, then maybe we'll win a cup. Maybe a League Cup, maybe an FA Cup. If not, for what I'm seeing now, the way Conte is speaking, he's saying, bye-bye.
Okay. Kuvva, I know you think we're doing a quad, but realistically, what are we doing?
I said we were going to win something if we got 3 more signings on top of what we started at the transfer window. We didn't. I think we're going to be in a really painful slog out for 4th place. And it could go either way. I would flip a coin between us and the Gooners for that.
Okay.
I think we'll sacrifice the cups as well.
Yeah, I'll say mine in a minute. But yeah, Stel, I'll finish on you. Always good to finish with Stel.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to
no
say
trophies.
finish on Stel. That would have just sounded awful. I'll say it. It's always good to finish on Stel. Stel, talk to me. What's happening?
No trophies. We do this every year. You know, last year I heard we're going to win the FA Cup. The year before we're going to win. We're not winning a trophy this year. And I think I agree with Kuva. A long, hard slog for 4th place. I think we're going to fall short. If we do a Bentancur Kulusevski style January and get in 2 players that galvanise us, then I think top 4 we'll probably just get it. But right now, outside the top 4 and no trophies.
Yep. And guys, I'll go with no trophies. I just feel that you can get your luck, but I just feel that there's too many stronger teams with deeper squads that will put out better 11s. And I think because of the lack of squad depth, I think that when we rotate for the league and FA Cup games, I have a feeling, like Kuva said, I think we will. Sorry, not in the same words as Kuva, but I think those teams, the 11s we start, will reflect our lack of oomph for those trophies. I think that we'll start to see the Papa Sarrs and the Jed Spences and the Sessignons in those trophies. And I think
Harvey White as well. Harvey White, bro.
Well, listen, absolutely. So, and on top of that, I've said 4th. I'm not going to stray from 4th, but I equally do think between 3rd and 6th, I genuinely think it could be in any order. I still think the top 2 are the top 2. And I think the other 4, unless Chelsea get into a real good run, I think the other 4, I don't think there's a lot in it. But guys, it's been wonderful having you all on, such lovely, diverse characters.
One last question to Soren, just 30 seconds. You just now agreed with Stel on the protest thing, right? For example,
He's been holding this in.
No, I'm not asking that. This is a different question. If Stel, for example, say if he manages to gather around 4,000, 5,000 protesters, and then he invites you, will you join the protest?
I'll be there.
I just find someone's on my son and I'll be there 3 days in a row.
Would I be there?
Bring that
Come
booze
on,
with
sir.
you.
Come on.
Bring that booze with you.
Sorry,
I'll stick him in his
sorry.
Tottenham kit. I'll bring him with me then, yeah.
Possibly.
Yes, come on.
Can I just say? Can I just say one thing? I reckon.
I like that, Soren. I like that, bro.
The worry for me is if we were to do a proper protest, right? Is that the media would laugh it off. And I'll tell you why I think they'd laugh it off. And I'm not going to allow anyone to retort. Give me a retort, by the way, because I've really got to go. My worry is that even the mouthpieces of Tottenham that go on Sky Sports News and report on us, they all tell you we've had this brilliant window. And I can imagine if we all went down the high road at the next game and protested, they would all go, oh my God, why are they protesting? They've just won the transfer window. That's my worry with it. But what do I know? I'm just a toxic.
They do that now. They question
Forest
fans that are
fire
saying it's not a good
being.
window.
No, mate, listen, I hear you. Guys,
Jamie
I've
Brown
got,
is doing that.
one
Jamie Brown.
quote. Sorry, I've got one quote to finish off the whole protest bit. Obviously, you've got to end the show on Che Guevara, haven't you? Revolution is not an apple that falls when ripe. You have to make it fall.
I mean,
Kuva
obviously,
will lead the protest. Kuva will be at the forefront.
when I set up my YouTube
Come
channel,
on.
I dreamt of ending every show on Che Guevara quotes. Yes, absolutely. Kuva, get me another one for the next show. Guys, we are going to end it there. Thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been a really good chat session today. There's been no arguing, no squabbling. There's been over 250 of you at any one time. Thank you for the super chats. Aditya, thank you very much. If you want Soren's number, I'll get it for you and send it to you so you can ask him a question every hour on the hour for the rest of his life.
Is he on Twitter?
Yes.
Soren, are you on Twitter?
Yeah, OCD whiskey.
Oh, you're in for it now. Sorry, you're in for
Bring it on.
Every 2 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, I've got a question for you.
Yeah. Followed by
I've
another-
already muted. I'm just like old kind of people. I've already muted all of them because I just can't read their tweets, man. Seriously.
You've got to let me finish this show. I had to go out 10 minutes ago, hence the 3-minute warning. Corey boy, thank you so much for coming on. As always, Soren, I know you need to go and make your tea. Charlie, always good talking to you. Eugene, big up to yourself. Kuva, much love, even though you did tell me earlier that you sleep with my fiance. I mean, that hurt. that hit me to the core, Kuva.
Yeah. Let's not
Can I just quickly ask, is anyone going to stay around to help me sort out my audio after this when the stream goes down? Because I like coming on to talk.
Someone here will. I've really got to go. Stel, love you as always, you toxic, negative Greek nonce. Thank you for joining the show. Always. Guys, on a serious note, thank you. Much love. Come on, you Spurs. See you later.
Boys.
Leave me out.
Good show.